Hello, everyone. This is Aaron and my wife.
Hi, I'm Katrina.
All right, I'm the pastor of Build Ministries. You can check us out on our website, buildministrieslv.com. To see everything that's going on with us. Check out our Facebook page, Build Ministries LV, and see everything that's going on with our ministries. Well, this is for those who are with the ministry and those who are following the ministry, just to keep you updated on what the teaching is, what the lessons are that we're going through. As if you watched the last video, you know that we're going through the Sermon on the Mount. And as I've told the people of the ministry, we are going to spend about 6 months teaching through the Sermon on the Mount. You may say 6 months, that's quite a long time, but if you really want to understand what Jesus had to say, you got to break this up into little pieces so you can really chew on everything to get as much as you can out of this. Last week was a rough one. Remember last week? Talking all about marriage and divorce. We made it through. And so we got to today. And, Karina, let me ask you this question. Do you or have you ever had or known of someone who would always say they were going to do something, be somewhere, but when it came time for them to deliver or to look for them, they were never there? It's like they never kept their word?
Yep. It's we call it the Vegas no. Now I'm sure my kids are. We coined this phrase. I have, for those you don't know, I have 2 teenage daughters and a teenage son. We have 3 teenagers. And a lot of times the kids will be invited to something, or they will invite their friends to something, and they'll, it's getting closer and closer to the date. And they're like, Mom, I only heard from one person, or I didn't hear from anybody. And I said, you know what? I've learned that when you don't hear from people, that's their way of saying, no, I'm not coming. So they don't want to just come right out and just, I guess, hurt your feelings, but they don't want to say yes either. They don't want to just say, yes, I'll be there, and then have to show up, or say, yes, I'll be there and not show up. So they just don't say anything.
Don't even say no.
They just don't say nothing. So you're scrambling, trying to figure out how many people to plan for, how many people RSVP. That just means absolutely nothing. RSVP is just a bunch of letters right now. Might as well be LMNOP because don't nobody know what that means. So I think that giving our word and sticking to it is becoming almost like writing a thank you note. It's like a thing of the past. Nobody does it anymore.
Yeah, it's like clicking like on something you see on Facebook.
Yeah, but
you probably have people you click like.
Right. Or, or just
not you, but people, some people that wake up in the morning and they just like.
I think it's just people that want to be polite. I guess they don't want to hurt your feelings. So they'll say yes. And then, you really come through, you really show up, and then it's just you, or it's you and one other person, or,
Okay. Well, the lesson today was Matthew chapter 5, verses 33 to 37. And it's another issue of the law that Jesus had to clear up. Remember, who better to explain the law than the law himself, the word of God, than Jesus Christ himself? Because as we're saying here, he's clearing up a lot of this wrong teaching that has gone forth in the community. And so as much is likened unto today, where there's a lot of teaching that's going out into the churches. But if we look deeper into what the word of God says, we see that some of the teaching that has gone out has not been correct. So looking through the Sermon on the Mount, we can see a lot of parallels with that day and today. So the context says this again: ye have heard that it has been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oath. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. And so basically, to the congregation, to the members, I said it's just your yes and your no. But to you, you're watching is basically this, and this might seem kind of rough, but I'll show you the scripture where this can be found. It's about liars and fools. It's like, wow, that's harsh. Liars and fools. Yes, you're going to see about how oath breakers or people who give their word and don't keep their word are likened unto liars and fools. Now, first thing you got to consider is when Jesus says, you know, you've heard it of old, thou shalt not forswear thyself. And we look at that word forswear. There are two things going in this context. The word forswear simply means to swear an oath falsely. And knowing that that's why it says falsely, because you know that you are lying when you give your word. Wow. And so he said, don't do it because you're a liar when you do it. All right. And so he says, don't do that, but you shall perform unto the Lord thine oath. And so what he did in the next few verses is he cleared up some things, because of what the Pharisees did was they found a supposed loophole in the law. And the loophole was this. In the law, it says when you make a vow or an oath unto the Lord, he's expecting you to keep it. But what Jesus did in verses 34, 35, and 36, what the Pharisees did was they said, okay, we're not going to swear unto God. We'll swear by anything else except God, because the law said don't use the name of God. So we're not using his name. We'll use Jerusalem. We'll use the temple. We'll use the things that are on the altar, even my head, but not God. And so now I can just give an oath or swear out there. I'm not using God's name, so I'm not breaking the law. That's a supposed loophole. But Jesus says, let me clear some things up for you guys, because you're messing this thing up. You're wrecking the lies of a lot of people. And he said, do not, because what's happening is people are just giving their word loosely and not even keeping it. And it comes like, for me, that when people give their word to me, I automatically don't expect them to keep it. That's a shame. That's how much I have dealt with people and their word in my life, where they would give me their word and it came around. The majority of them, I don't see. So
I thought of an example.
Yes.
Okay. So a perfect example is when somebody says, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. You know when they say it, they're not going to call you.
How many of you are still waiting for that call?
Oh, wait.
2 years later.
Wait. How about I'll pay you? Wait. I'll pay you back on Tuesday
for a hamburger today. If you
I am still waiting. Okay. Tuesday came and went. How many years ago? About 5 years ago. Tuesday came and went. Keep rolling.
Okay. No, all right. No, we're not naming names in this.
I'll pay you back though. Watch that one. Okay.
But yeah, so in the context, Jesus, he's telling the people, look, you've been taught this, but basically you've been taught wrong. Remember, in the beginning, you said, unless your righteousness is passed out of the scribes and Pharisees, you won't make it in. And this is one thing you have to do to make sure your righteousness surpasses theirs. They're leading and guiding you and teaching you to basically, it's okay to make these oaths on these conditions, but don't do it. And so he says, best thing to do is let your yes be yes and your no be no. There's yes and no. That's all it is too. And so when it comes to the whole thing, there are two things about giving oaths. One is when you forswear yourself, where you give an oath, you're giving your word and you know you're not going to keep it. You know, you're telling a lie. You're actually forswearing yourself. And then the other one is when you just basically are hasty in making an oath. That's what the whole part about swearing by the temple, Jerusalem, or even the hairs on your head, you know, and stuff like that. And so we go to Leviticus chapter 19 and 12, we'll see the context about what it is to forswear yourself falsely. And then Exodus 20 and 7 about being hasty, and how the Pharisees found that loopholes. Supposedly there are no loopholes in the word of God, but you know, when Jesus said that the scribes and Pharisees, they were a perverse generation, that word perverted in scripture means that they turned. In other words, they twisted the word and turned it to mean what they wanted it to mean. So Leviticus 19 and 12 says this, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely. There it is right there. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So right there, don't swear by God's name falsely. We didn't do it, God. We swore by the temple. And what did Jesus say? Yeah, we swore by Jerusalem. That's his footstool, you know. And so said, don't do it at all, because everything is of God, comes from God. And then in Exodus chapter 20 and 7, we're going to see about just being hasty in making your word. And that's in the 10 Commandments. 20 and 7 says this: thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. And so there are the two conditions about using the name of the Lord when you are swearing or just using his name. Like I gave this example of, I'm a teacher. I teach 5th grade. And there are times when I'm having to correct a student. Like, I need you to sit down and get to work. And that student will respond, "Oh my God." Like, all of a sudden, you're just going to put the emphasis on the name of God, trying to get me to back down because you're behind his audio seat messing up things in the classroom. So I'm going all of a sudden back down because you invoke the name of God. And so what's my response? Don't you ever let those 3 words come out of your mouth again. Because if your God stood right here, right now, who do you think he's going to back up?
You and your wrong behavior.
We have young people today who use the name of the Lord in vain, have no idea what they are doing when they invoke that name. And so young people need to be taught, don't ever let those words come out of your mouth in that context, in that way, because you're hasty in using the name of God. Don't do it, because it says he's not going to hold you guiltless. He's going to hold you accountable. Yes, even these 10, 11, 12-year-old students, they need to learn. It's like there's an irreverence in people today where there's no real respect for the name of God, honor of God, or even true knowledge of God. And so because that doesn't exist, we're just going to throw his name out there as much as we can. Because people are going to see, I'm serious about this. Oh yeah, I'm serious too. What? Because I'm not backing down. You know what? They don't use that word in my class anymore. I haven't heard those 3, because after going off on 2 or 3 of them a couple of times, I think you got it.
Check them. Check them.
Don't let me know you go to church too, because I will show up there one day. I've done it.
Yes.
But moving on, Malachi 3:5 says this: I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers and against adulterers and against false swearers.
Wow.
He puts people who swear falsely in the same league as sorcerers and adulterers. And he says, I will be a swift witness against those people. So this is something very serious that Jesus is saying. You know, when you're swearing an oath, even giving a vow, look, God is serious. The words come out of your mouth. The expectation is that God's like, keep it.
Yes.
Because if not, then you are intentionally lying and using my name to endorse your lie. It's like you want God to co-sign on your lie.
Right. Like I was thinking, like writing a bad check. But you're using God's name. I'm write this $1 million check. I expect God to cash it.
I had a friend. He did this. He wrote a check. We were in college at Biola. He wrote a check, and he went to the bursar's office, and he wrote the check to me. I had no idea what he was doing. He wrote the check to me and said, hey, let's go just cash the check. All right. So, you know, wrote check to me. Then we went down, cashed the check, right? $30. So he gets $30. I'm like, cool, go on my way. A couple of weeks later, I'm getting a call from the bursar's office. Aaron, we got this check that bounced. What? Think back to my friend. He used me and my name.
That's it. That's exactly
basically to commit fraud.
Yes. Yeah. That's serious.
Practical advice. If you know somebody's money is funny, don't co-sign with them on anything. Because the debt collectors will come after you. And so I guess the same thing with God. Like, don't put my name in none of your stuff, your foolishness, your mess.
Don't put my name on it.
So that's the liar part right there. You become a liar when you just know you're not going to keep your word, but you think it's okay. Even if you don't use the name of God and giving your oath, the whole thing that makes it an oath is when you put a tagline on it. You know, like saying, this is an old saying that I'll be there with bells on. You just said you'll be there, but then you say I'll be there with bells on. That's like making your word, turning it into an oath. You know, if the sun don't stop shining, I will be there.
If the creek don't rise.
Okay, something like that. Yeah.
If the creek don't rise.
Right. Okay. But basically, you put that line on it, it becomes an oath. And so Jesus is saying, look, just don't do it at all. And so that's that. And so when we look at it, you know, like in Numbers 30 and 2, I used this last week when it came to marriage and divorce, but it still applies here. In Numbers 30 and 2, here's what God says. Remind you of it. It says, if a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. There's the thing you got to understand. If it proceeded out of your mouth, God is expecting you to keep whatever words has flown out of your mouth. If it's in your head, that's one thing. But if it flows from your lips, if you say it, if you're repeating after someone, you still said it. He's still expecting you to keep your word. So don't break it.
Right.
Now, here's what you got to see. In Deuteronomy chapter 23 and 21, we're going to see exactly how it is regarded when you do not keep your word. 23:21 says this: when thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for the Lord thy God will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee. So right there we see you give your word, vow, and oath unto God, and you don't keep it, then it's sin.
Wow.
If you say something and you do not keep the words that you say that he would do, it is sin. Now here it is right here. We know about forswearing thyself, basically being a liar. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. You're going to find out where that other part came from. What other part? You'll see it. The context is chapters 5, verses 1 through 8. But we're going to look at just chapter 5, verse 4 of Ecclesiastes. Like a sword drill here. There, boom. All right. And verse 4 says this: when thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. So the title liars and fools, fool. If you swear an oath unto God, make a vow unto God, and you don't do what you said you would do, it says right here, he hath no pleasure in fools. That's what you are. Not you if you've never done it, but if you have done it. To God, that's how he sees you. He sees you as a sorcerer and an adulteress. You're a sinner, a liar, and a fool. Wow. All of that, simply because you gave your word and you put a tagline on it, making it a vow or an oath, saying, I would do this. God, if you get me out of this, I'll go to church every Sunday. And after about 2 months, you stop going to church because you got some reason. No, you said something to God, and all of a sudden you stop, which means you have broken vow and you are a fool. Or someone you know is a fool. They're fools. Maybe not you, because you never done it. But someone is. You know anybody like that? I hear about it all the time, but I already don't know of anyone who said, God, if this, then I'll get me out of trouble.
I've heard people have said that they have said that. I've heard preachers say, you know, I told God, if you ever get me out of, I mean, you know, I don't know if they didn't keep it, but they, you know, yeah, I know several preachers that have actually preached about that. Yeah, where they said, you know, God, if you get me out of this, and he did, and he got him out of it. And so, you know, yes, yeah, that's a very common vow. It's a very common one.
And so what Jesus is saying is that, okay, Pharisees, you said, okay, we know the law says, look, don't do this using God's name. Don't make it unto the Lord, but you can use anything else that is not God, and it's okay if you break it. But what did Jesus say? Don't swear an oath at all. Just don't do it. Look, you say that don't swear by God, but you know what? We can swear by heaven. That's God's throne. You know what? We can swear by the earth. That's his footstool. We can swear by Jerusalem. That's the city of the great king. Okay, I'm just going to swear by my head. No. Can you do anything to the hairs on your head besides cut them?
Right.
Spray that Miracle Grow on it or whatever. It's almost like this, you know, being in the teaching profession, I've encountered a lot of irreverent students. I said that word, irreverent students, because it was years ago when I used to work in LA and Watts. I would have students, I'm trying to move along, and I say, hey, look, I need you to just move. He's like, and the student like, man, touch me again, that's on God. That's on everything. Touch me again, I'm a bomb on you.
What they said, the wrong man?
Yeah. I'm a bomb on you. That's old school saying I'm gonna sock you, And then they would say, man, that's on God. That's on my mama. That's on my dead granny. The dead granny I just talked to yesterday. Stuff like that. Yeah, for real. Well, let me call your grandmother right now. Your grandchild said you dead. And he swore on your grave.
On your grave. How disrespectful.
That's on everything I love.
Yeah.
They're making it an oath.
Yeah. That's a lot of oathing.
Yeah,
that's like 5 oaths.
It's like, Mr. Hill, touch me again. That's on everything, man. I'm a bomb on you. Okay, and then
Don't
what?
Do that. How long have you known him?
Keep your word.
No, don't do that.
But they try to move, so I won't touch them. Anyway. But in our young people, they're coming up, just throwing their word out there, trying to show that I'm serious about this. And sometimes they're just doing it to get you to back down.
Right.
But here's the mistake that they make. God heard you, and he's going to hold you to it. So better not to use any of that at all. Because somebody might call your bluff. Then what do?
You might have a Mr. Hill one day. Good thing this is on video.
Yep, that's right. Come in with those 3 words. I'll put you in check so fast, shut everything down. Nah, especially if I know you go to church.
Yeah, he will. He will come to your church. He'll show up.
All right. So we're moving on. Look, Matthew 23. In Matthew chapter 23, that's that chapter where Jesus goes in hard on the Pharisees. And verses 16 and 22, he deals more with the issue of oaths. And here's what he says in 23, 16 and 22. He says, "Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifieth the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, sweareth by it and by all things thereon. And whoso shall swear by the temple, sweareth by it and by him that dwelleth therein. And he that shall swear by heaven, sweareth by the throne of God and by him that sitteth thereon." So the Pharisees, who found these supposed loopholes in the law that made these exceptions and say you can swear by this, but not by this. But do you know what? If you break it, that's okay. Yeah. Jesus said, he called them blind guides and fools. Ecclesiastes says the same thing. If you make a vow or an oath and you're not quick to keep it, you're likened unto a fool. That's how God sees people who just put their word out there and they're serious about it, especially in a church, about church related things, and they don't keep it. How many fools are sitting in the sanctuary right now? I said this. I said this. I shared this with. I said, when I pastored, one of the most difficult things for the members of Greater Carver to deal with was when I stopped the reading of the church covenant every month. Every first Sunday, they would read the church covenant. I stopped it because I don't think they realized that it became tradition. And Jesus in Matthew chapter 15 says, basically that, put it like this: well did Isaiah say of these people, they worship me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me, for they teach as doctrine the traditions of men. And so with the church covenant, it became a thing where they would just do it so automatically, but I don't think they realize that they're making vows. And that one part of the church covenant, not the part about the alcohol, we're going to abstain from drinking and selling alcohol as a beverage. Not that part. I'm not doing that. No, it's a part that says slow to take offense, but always ready for reconciliation. And so it became problematic because I knew of several people who were ready, quick to be offended, but never sought reconciliation. And so if you stood up month after month saying this vow unto the Lord, even though you're just repeating after someone, no, you bind yourself by your tradition, and God is holding you to those words. and you say it every month, and every month you get offended, but you're not seeking reconciliation, you have broken the covenant that you've made with God and your brothers and sisters, and you are in sin. And if you are so quick to say it every month and you don't keep it, you are a fool. So for me, it's like I had to really teach that to them and say, this is why we're not doing this anymore. Because I can't have you put me in a position to put you in a position to commit a sin. And so if Jesus said, just let your yes be yes and your no be no, that is enough. But they still didn't like it. They wanted it back.
Well, it's interesting that people are offended about the church covenant and taking offense about everything else and breaking the church covenant, but they're not offended that they're breaking the church covenant or that they're breaking covenant with God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be offended that we are, you know, breaking something that God obviously says over and over his word, don't do, but they're more offended that you're taking down the recitation and the remind, because the recitation is a reminder. It's reminding us of what we're not doing every week. It's reminding us that we should be not taking offense, but not only are we not living according to the church covenant, but then we get offended, which is the very thing, about taking the church covenant down. Well,
let's keep it going. Got our son at the door right there.
He's trying to break in.
Somewhere. Yeah, you can't, not yet. All right, John 8:44, because that last part of the context of Matthew 5:33 to 37, when he says anything more than that is of the evil one, from the evil one. It was like, what?
Yeah, that is kind of.
What do you mean? If I do more than just saying yes or no, if I make an oath,
put that tag on it.
Yeah. John 8:44. You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So if Satan himself speaks and he is speaking lies, and we forswear ourselves falsely, knowing that we're telling a lie, what do you think that motivation came from? From the evil one.
Yep. Keep going. I'll be back. Keep going.
All right. So 2 Corinthians 1:17 to 19. This is what live video is all about right here. And a 5-year-old. It says this, 2 Corinthians. Let me find it. 2 Corinthians 1:17 through 19 says, when I therefore was thus minded, did I use lightness, or the things that I purpose, do I purpose according to the flesh, that with me there should be yea, yea, and nay, nay. But as God is true, our word towards you was not yea and nay, for the Son of God, Jesus Christ, who was preached among you by us, even by me and Silvanus and Timotheus, was not yea and nay, but in him was yea. So we see there that yea, yea, nay, nay thing. Whenever you double a word like yea, yea, nay, nay, that's how serious it is. It's more than just a yes or no. It's like, it's yes, yes. Jesus Christ is the only way. Yes, yes. No, no, there is no other way. So he said, look, we didn't have to add anything to our words to make our words serious. It was just the word of God that we presented to you. So we're not going to swear any oath to make this word true. The word is true and it can stand on its own. And so I'm going to close right here in the book of James, chapter 5, verse 12. James is pretty much saying the same thing that Jesus said. And here's what he says. James chapter 5 and verse 12. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea and your nay, nay, lest you fall into condemnation. So that is the word for the members of Build Ministries today. That's the word for you if you're listening, whenever you hear this, that we do not want to be likened unto sorcerers and adulterers. We don't want to be considered sinners and fools and liars by God, because we give our word so loosely and we don't keep it, thinking that our friends and family are going to be okay because they will understand. Maybe they will, but God won't. And so that's what it's all about. When we make anything an oath and don't keep that oath, especially if we know we're not going to keep that oath, we just say it just to get people out of our faces so they can leave us alone. No, it's a thing of, if you want to say no, say no, and expect the person hearing the no to take that no for an answer and respect your words. If they press you for a yes, don't just say yes because they press you and then don't keep your word because you said yes. So it's just a matter of, you have to get the other person to respect your no.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Like I was going to share about this one time I was at, you know how people used to do these multi-level marketing things, and I went to this one presentation. It was about life insurance stuff. And so I'm just trying to go home. I just went to hear, and so I heard it because I just went there to do a favor for a friend. And so one of the ladies was talking to me, and basically I was like, no. She wouldn't take my no for an answer. No. It's basically, she would not let me out of there unless I signed up.
Yeah.
And so basically I just got to a point where I said, you're just not going to take no for an answer. That's when she stopped.
Because she didn't want to agree with you and say, yes, you're right.
Yeah, respect my no.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And so that is our word for today. So I hope that this was helpful for you when it comes to you and how you give your word. And even when you receive words from other people, whether it's a yay or nay, just let it be yes or no, and that's it. Don't press people for yeses. If they say no, respect their no, because you want people to respect your no's. And make no oaths. Don't make something more serious, because God is going to hear that and he's going to expect you better keep it. That's on your dead granny. Okay, yeah, you serious now, huh? So are you going to see?
Yeah, that would be awful if something happened to granny.
Oh yeah, for real.
Right? Now you really got a dead granny. That would be awful.
And like Jesus said, it's like the way to heaven is called straight, S-T-R-A-I-T. That word straight means difficult. The gate is narrow, the road is straight or difficult. And the last part of that, he says, there are few who find it. It is my prayer that if you're watching this, you are one of the few who finds that narrow gate by taking this difficult path. Because to get there is not just going to be an easy thing. It's a difficult thing. It's difficult to deal with marriage and divorce and knowing that it is really till death do you part. There is no easy out for that. It's difficult to know that, man, if I say yes, I got to keep my word. If I say no, then, you know,
keep that word too.
Yeah.
Gotta keep all of it.
Yeah, like when you say yes to marriage, you made a vow, you gotta keep it.
Yeah, that's what we call them, marriage vows.
That's right.
Vows.
Oh man, it's like it goes hand in hand. You know, don't get divorced and don't forswear yourself falsely. I'm going to marry you just to get your daddy off my back. But in about 2 years, when it cools down, I'm going to cut you loose.
Ooh, that's a whole nother subject right there.
Yeah.
Premeditated.
That's right.
All right. Well, that was great.
All right. It was good. So thank everyone. Once again, all the members of Build Ministries, thank you all so much. As I was meditating and praying for all of you, God just let me know that not only has he surrounded me with people who can just fill in every space, but we're all surrounded with each other.
Yes.
And that's how it ought to be. That's how the body of Christ is built up and edified, with everyone surrounding each other and doing what we do best and having room to do it. And nobody's telling anybody, no, you can't do that. No, there are no no's that really come and Build Ministries. Not yet, because no one's ever asked to do anything that is outside of the will and grace of God. Right. And so it's a great thing. I want to thank all of you so much, and all of you who are watching. Just thank you. And that's it. Good. This is Aaron.
Until next time. And this is Katrina.
Yeah. Until next week.
Hey, tomorrow's my birthday. I have to remind myself because I'm going to forget.
Do you want to get it the happy birthday on the day? or the day before.
No, I don't know why. That just hit me right now.
Yeah, you know, I remember when I was pastoring Greater Carver, they did this thing.
The video stopped about 3 minutes ago, so this is the post video.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, before I became pastor, you know, they used to do birthdays every week at Greater Carver.
Oh,
you know, when they do birthdays, and so one of the mothers, you know, they announced her name and you know that her birthday was coming up, and so I said I'm going to be nice and speak to her. I said, hey, happy birthday. She said my birthday's Thursday. Tell me then. I was like that. I got you.
People, though. I mean, it is a little funny. I did have a friend that would call me religiously or text me and wish me happy birthday on the wrong day every year. Yeah, religiously. So
is it the same wrong day or a different wrong day?
It was usually the same wrong day. Oh. I think she just guessed and just was hoping that would be the right day, but it was. And I guess so you could write in and give me your feedback on it. Should I have said thank you, but my birthday is really March the 26th, or should I have said, you know what? Thank you for the wishes of me to do well in the upcoming year. And so it's 3 days early. Hey, that's even more. It's
yeah,
nice.
You're thinking of me early, yeah.
Yeah, so I get 3 extra days on that. Thank you.
All right. Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I figured we can go to Jack in the Box for your birthday. We can walk over to the new one. You said they got some new stuff. That new drink.
Cut. Cut.
You said the food is good.
Cut. Delete.
This is Pastor Aaron. Check out the website, buildministrieslv.com. Check us out. We'll be here every week as much as we can be consistent with this thing.
My birthday. Yeah.
We're on a budget.
Cut.
Thanks, y'all.
Cut.